archaeologist specializing in Mediterranean archaeology between the 2nd millennium and the early 5th century BC. My research has focused on different subjects, such as cultural interaction, social identities and material display of power, settlement strategies, societal and burial practices, exploitation of natural resources, adaptation to changing climatic and environmental conditions, anthropomorphic representations. The profound synergy between a historical, anthropological, archaeological approach and other methods of investigation has characterized my research. Currently, I'm engaged in two different topics: interaction strategies and the so-called webs of significance, in a nutshell, systems of science in the Mediterranean region between the end of the 9th and the early 7th century BC, and territorial political systems in southern Etruria between the Bronze and Archaic Ages. The latter topic is linked to the international and transdisciplinary project I designed in 2015 and had been managing since 2018. It is a scientific cooperation between the Institute of Heritage Science and the Roman-Germanic Central Museum in Mainz, Germany. This project has been generously supported at first by the German Research Foundation and subsequently by the Fritz Thyssen Foundation. Circa 90 kilometers north of Rome lies the widest volcanic lake of Europe, Lake Bolsena. On the southwestern shore of that lake, Bisenzio Hill commands a wide view across the broad water surface. Despite being an inland region, this district played a very important role in antiquity. Indeed, it was located between the dynamic networks of the Tyrrhenian coast and the equally lively centers and markets of the Tiber and Paglia valleys. Furthermore, the lake provided a web of much faster and safer waterways compared to the impervious land routes, and granted an endless source of fresh water and food. The fundamental role of the Bisenzio site is even more evident when considering that up to the transition from the 10th to the 9th century BC, the water level was circa 8 meters lower. Consequently, the hill was in the middle of a flat, fertile lake landscape and commanded control over the crossroads that connected the neighboring regions. Human presence on Bisenzio Hill dates to the transition from the 3rd to the 2nd millennium BC, while the inception of a permanent settlement towards the last centuries of the 2nd millennium is discernible. Besides, it can be assumed that the Bronze and Iron Age settlement spread eastwards across now submerged areas, as suggested by vases and ceramic fragments, as well as a dug-out canoe discovered on the seabed in front of Bisenzio Hill. The local community thrived continuously as late as the end of the Archaic Age, as pointed to by the substantial number of shores scattered across circa 85 hectares. The project made it possible to describe the pace of the growth of the settlement, as well as to postulate the function of some contexts such as textile production, as hinted at by the manual weights or banqueting. Geophysics documented a system of arterial and collector roads, one of which leads to the lake coastline, exactly where a now submerged structure, interpreted as a harbor, is located. The importance of Bisenzio is emphasized by the numerous burial plots around the hill and by some majestic burial monuments, such as the huge Iron Age trenches with a built pseudo-vault, and the orientalizing and archaic burial mounds and chamber tombs. What is more, the involvement of the community in local and possibly Mediterranean networks is confirmed by some features characterizing the funerary offering, as for instance the painted patterns linked to an Aegean repertoire and the East Mediterranean bichrome technique. The vitality of the Bisenzio community continued during the 6th century BC, and is further confirmed by the fragment of a decorated architectural plaque, Indeed, the theme of the warrior equipped with lance and shield goes along with a narrative program aiming at emphasizing the military virtues of the aristocratic families, leading the archaic urban communities in southern Etruria and North Latium. During the early 5th century BC, this dynamic and powerful Etruscan town underwent a profound crisis, perhaps due to the pressure exerted by larger and more influential towns such as Vulci, Tarquinia, and Orvieto. The dissemination of research results is of paramount importance to me. In this respect, the strategies I have implemented are manifold. An academic one pursued through participation in scientific conferences, workshops, and roundtables, as well as the publication of contributions in specialized journals, if possible open source. A broader spreading of information achieved thanks to initiatives like this one, papers edited by archaeological magazines, local and regional press publications, both traditional and digital, and reports broadcasted by local and regional TV and web channels. Finally, I have been and will be very committed to nurturing interest in and respect for cultural heritage within the local community, not only among adults, but also and especially among the younger generation, because it is they who will have to pick up the torch of research, protection, and promotion of their own cultural heritage. For this reason, I have involved primary and secondary schools in the municipalities neighboring Bisenzio. For one day, the pupils became archaeologists. They actively got acquainted with archaeological evidence and structured their own knowledge. What is more, they discussed and elaborated together their own strategies to protect both the ecosystem and the cultural heritage.